Intermittent fasting is not this magic solution that you can just do it, eat whatever you want, and you won't gain any weight or you won't have any negative health consequences. You still have to worry about the quality of food that you are eating during your window. If you're eating like crap the entire time throughout the day and then you do intermittent fasting, that intermittent fasting is not going to negate all the bad food that you ate throughout the day. So you still have to eat well while doing intermittent fasting if you want to reap all of the health benefits. Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in and welcome back to another Sunday Q&A. Before we start, just a quick reminder that if you like what you see, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any of our videos. Also, if you have any questions, ask them down in the comment section and we'll either respond to you directly in the comment section or answer your questions during another one of our weekly Sunday Q&As. Alright, time to answer your questions. Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in and welcome back to another Sunday Q&A. Today's question is with regard to intermittent fasting while on the carnivore diet. A lot of you want to know, can you do intermittent fasting while on the carnivore diet? And also, if you can, should you? Have I done it? And if I have, what have my experiences been? So those are going to be the questions that I will be answering for you in this week's Sunday Q&A. Now, in terms of today's video, I'm going to break it down into several stages. The first question I'm going to answer is what exactly is intermittent fasting? I will then go into my experiences. The third question I'm going to answer is should you? This is going to be dependent on several factors. It's going to be dependent on your goals. So I'll break down should you intermittent fast on different types of goals that you may have. And then the last question that I'm going to answer is going to be how can you implement intermittent fasting while on the carnivore diet? Now, the first question is going to be what is intermittent fasting? Intermittent fasting in its simplest form is a prolonged time where you go without eating. Now, intermittent fasting is nothing new. This is something that humans have done ever since we've been human. Whenever there have been periods of either food scarcity or for religious reasons, humans have done intermittent fasting. Back when we didn't have grocery stores and we had to hunt for our food, animals weren't readily available all the time. So when you didn't have an animal that you had hunted, you didn't have food to eat. So there were periods where you didn't have food available, so you would have to do intermittent fasting. With regard to religious reasons, also a lot of people do intermittent fasting for religious reasons. People will fast for prolonged periods of time. Certain religions will fast up to 40 days. So depending on what your reasons are, intermittent fasting can be incorporated into the carnivore diet. It's going to come down to your goals. Now, with regard to my personal experience, I have done intermittent fasting for years. I've done it on and off. Currently, I'm not technically doing it. You could say I technically am because I do go for a decent amount of my day without eating, but I don't really plan it out to actually intermittent fast. It's just some days it happens to work out like that. In the past, what I have done is on my non-workout days, I would consume breakfast only, and then I would fast for the rest of the day. And then on my workout days, I would consume 2 meals, breakfast and dinner. I'm doing that right now, but I'm also working out every single day. So because I'm working out every single day, I don't have those days where all I eat is breakfast. So every day, I'm basically eating breakfast and dinner, and my breakfast and dinner are roughly separated by anywhere from 8 to 12 hours, depending on what time of day I work out. Typically, if I work out late at night, then my meals are going to be spaced out about 12 hours apart. If I work out a little bit earlier during the day, they'll be spaced out maybe 8 hours apart. In terms of how I felt when I was doing intermittent fasting, I felt amazing. And one of the reasons I feel that I felt really good while I was doing intermittent fasting was because of my medical conditions. As I've spoken in the past, I was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis back in 2010. And because of the ulcerative colitis, I feel like intermittent fasting gives my digestive system a little bit of a break, and that little break really improves my digestive health and also just makes me feel really good. My energy levels are generally through the roof. The only downside for me for intermittent fasting is if I do go for long periods of time without eating, I do get really bloated. So on days that I would intermittent fast, by the time the end of the day came around, I looked like a pregnant woman. My stomach would just be out to here. So that would be the downside, but all of the pros outweighed that one con. My energy levels improved, my digestive health improved. So overall, for me, it was a good thing. And the only reason that I'm not technically doing it right now is because I don't have any rest days. I'm working out every single day. So because I'm working out every single day, I want to get my food in, so I'm not able to do intermittent fasting. Now, in terms of yourself and should you do it, this is really going to come down to personal preference and also your goals. If your goals are aesthetic versus health related versus performance related, that might have an impact on how exactly you would implement the intermittent fasting protocol and also whether or not you would even do an intermittent fasting protocol. Now, let's say your goal is aesthetics. If your goal is aesthetics, it doesn't matter whether or not your goal is to either gain weight or lose weight. You can do intermittent fasting on either one of those goals. When it comes down to gaining weight or losing weight, for the vast majority of the population, it's going to come down to calories in versus calories out. Unless you're somebody that has some type of hormonal imbalance or some type of genetic predisposition, it's going to come down to calories in versus calories out. But as long as you're a healthy individual and you don't have any hormonal imbalances, or if you don't have any genetic predispositions, then this is going to apply to you. Calories in versus calories out is going to be what matters. Now, when it comes to calories in versus calories out, if you are trying to lose weight, you just have to consume less calories than you burn off throughout the day. If you're trying to gain weight, then you have to consume more calories than you burn throughout the day. Now, you can accomplish both of those while doing intermittent fasting. As long as you consume enough calories within whatever window you are doing, then you can do intermittent fasting and still see either weight loss results or muscle gain results. As long as you are consuming enough calories and getting enough proper nutrition in your diet, then you can do intermittent fasting for either gaining weight or losing weight. So when it comes to aesthetics, yes, you can do intermittent fasting, and you just have to make sure that your caloric intake matches your goal. When it comes to health, there have been a lot of studies that have reported the benefits of intermittent fasting with regard to health. Some of the reported benefits have been extended life, regulated blood glucose levels, managing your body weight. The one draw with these studies is that they are very short-term studies. We don't really have any long-term studies to look at the effects over the course of, let's say, 20 to 40 years. The studies are fairly new, so there's no conclusive data on the health benefits of intermittent fasting. However, based on anecdotal evidence and based on the little scientific data that we do have, there does appear to be some health benefits when incorporating intermittent fasting into your lifestyle. Now, one of the reasons for the reported benefits and why the studies have shown that there have been improvements in overall health is because there is a strong correlation with decreasing your body weight and improving your health markers. If you are overweight or obese and you decrease your weight, all of your health markers will generally improve. So one of the reasons why intermittent fasting would benefit your health is when you do intermittent fasting, you have less time to eat. So because you have less time to eat, you don't consume as many calories. Because you're not consuming as many calories, you won't put on as much weight. Because you won't put on as much weight, that will help all your other health markers, like your inflammatory markers, your blood glucose. All of those will be improved if you minimize your caloric intake, which incorporating intermittent fasting will allow you to minimize your caloric intake. That being said, you can still be in a caloric surplus while on intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting is not this magic solution that you can just do it, eat whatever you want, and you won't gain any weight or you won't have any negative health consequences. You still have to worry about the quality of food that you are eating during your window. If you're eating like crap the entire time throughout the day and then you do intermittent fasting, that intermittent fasting is not going to negate all the bad food that you ate throughout the day. So you still have to eat well while doing intermittent fasting if you want to reap all of the health benefits. Now, when it comes to performance, it's really going to be dependent on your goal. When I use the word performance, I don't mean professional athletes. Performance is what you do throughout the day. If you are somebody who does grocery shopping a lot and just carrying groceries up and down the stairs is causing you a lot of trouble, then improving performance would mean being able to take those groceries up the stairs without any issue. If you are a professional athlete, then improving performance would be improving your actual performance in the sport that you play. So depending on what your level of performance is, that is going to determine whether or not intermittent fasting would be good for you. If you are somebody who's pretty sedentary and you just want to be able to improve how you function throughout the day, then absolutely incorporate intermittent fasting. It will help as long as, again, you are eating well throughout the rest of the day. Because if you do incorporate intermittent fasting with healthy eating, then your weight will go down. If your weight goes down, then that will improve your joint dysfunction. If you also incorporate some exercise, you can improve your movement, which will help you be able to do those activities without experiencing any pain. So by incorporating intermittent fasting with healthy eating and exercise, that's going to be the best way to improve performance for everyone, whether your performance goal is to be able to walk up and down the stairs without pain, or whether your goal is to be the best athlete that you can possibly be. Now, with regard to professional athletes, it's going to again come down to your goal. If you are an athlete that is in a specific weight category, so let's say you're doing either MMA, boxing, or some type of sport that requires you to make a certain amount of weight, or even a sport that requires you to be a little bit on the smaller side like gymnastics, then intermittent fasting would definitely help, because by doing intermittent fasting, again, you can lower your caloric intake, and by lowering your caloric intake, it will make it easier for you to lose weight in the long run. So if you are in a sport that either requires you to be light or requires you to make a certain amount of weight, incorporating intermittent fasting would definitely be a benefit. Now, if you are in a sport that requires you to be very, very heavy and put on a lot of weight, let's say you are a professional strongman competitor, you can still do intermittent fasting while doing that type of a competition to put on weight. However, it's going to be much more challenging because you are going to be limited in the amount of time that you can eat. So you're going to have a smaller window to get in all those calories that you need to put on weight. If you are consuming 10,000 calories a day because you want to try and be 450 pounds and win the world's strongest man title, then it's going to be a lot easier to get those 10,000 calories throughout the course of a 16-hour window than it would if you had to limit yourself to only 8 hours. So in that sense, intermittent fasting wouldn't be the greatest if that is your goal. If your goal is to be the strongest man alive, then intermittent fasting probably would not be the best solution for you. You can still get stronger and you can still put on muscle while on intermittent fasting. However, it's tough to put on the maximum amount of muscle and the maximum amount of weight possible because you are restricting your caloric intake. So when it comes to performance, depending on your goal, if your goal does not require you to be very, very heavy or the strongest person possible, then incorporate intermittent fasting. See what works for you though. Try it out. If you find that you do intermittent fasting, your performance is improving, you're feeling better, you don't have any joint pain, nothing like that, then keep doing it. If it's working for you, great, keep doing it. Which brings us to the last question, which is going to be how to implement intermittent fasting. Now, when it comes to intermittent fasting protocols, there are proponents of several different variations of intermittent fasting. A lot of people will go for a 12-12 split. A lot of people will do a 16 and 8 hour split. It's really going to be dependent on your personal preference and also how you can manage it. When you're first starting out, it's going to be a little bit easier to do something like a 12-12 because you're just getting used to it. And then as your body adapts, then you can gradually increase your rest window and decrease your feeding window. So let's say you're doing a 12-12 split. What that means is that for 12 hours, you would consume whatever you want throughout the course of those 12 hours. And then for 12 hours, you wouldn't eat anything at all. During that non-feed period, the only thing you're allowed pretty much is water. No food is allowed in that 12-hour rest period. Now, during the 12 hours, you can consume whatever you want. However, as I stated earlier, ideally, if you want to get the maximum amount of benefits with intermittent fasting, you should be consuming healthy foods and consuming a healthy diet. If you are consuming healthy foods and a healthy diet, it's going to be much more beneficial than to consume crap for the majority of the day and then just not eat for 12 hours. You're not really going to get all the benefits by doing it that way. However, if you're used to eating crap for 16 hours and then you limit your window to 12 hours, it will be a minor improvement. So another thing that you can do is just for 12 hours, eat whatever you want. Once that becomes manageable, then you can start incorporating some healthy foods. Once you've incorporated some healthy foods, then you could lower your window even more to make your feeding time even less. And then just do that until you finally achieve your goal. You don't have to go all in all at once and go for a 20-hour fast, 4-hour feeding window and eat keto, paleo, or carnivore in those 4 hours and abstain from all other foods. If you go from eating like crap to doing something like that, you might be able to do it for a week or two, but you're not going to be able to sustain it. So rather than going all in, your best bet is going to be to gradually incorporate intermittent fasting into your protocol. So let's say you're brand new to eating healthy and you just want to be able to incorporate intermittent fasting just to speed up your results a little bit or just to test it out to see how exactly you react. What you can do is start out with a 12-hour feeding window and a 12-hour fasting window. In that 12 hours, consume what you would normally consume. Don't even worry about eating healthy for that first stage. Just worry about accomplishing your mission of only eating for 12 hours and fasting for 12 hours. Once you're able to do that consistently for about a month, then you could start making more fine-tunes to your diet. So you could start incorporating some healthy foods, removing some unhealthy foods. Once you've removed some unhealthy foods and incorporated some more healthy foods, then you could lower your feeding window even more. Once you've lowered your feeding window even more and you're able to incorporate some healthy foods into your diet and you're able to do that consistently, then you could try taking out even more bad food and incorporating more good food until finally you're at the point where everything that you're eating is healthy and you are incorporating a window that works well for you. Whether that be a 20-hour fast and 4-hour feed or a 16-hour fast and 8-hour feed, it's going to be
be different for everyone. Everybody's going to react differently. Try them, experiment with them, see which one works for you. But that pretty much covers it for today's video. Thanks again for tuning in. If you have any other questions with regard to my experience with the carnivore diet or any other questions with regard to the carnivore diet, go ahead, ask your questions down in the comments section. I'll either get back to you in the comments section or respond to you during another one of our Sunday Q&As. That's it for today's video. Thanks again for tuning in, and I'll see you again next week.
That's it for today's video. Thanks for tuning in. If you liked what you saw, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any of our videos. And if you have any questions, ask them down in the comment section, and we'll either respond to you directly in the comment section or answer your questions during another one of our weekly Sunday Q&As. Keep fit, have fun, and we'll see you again next week.